Hi folks, I'm Dr. Robin. I am back for another episode of K-Pop Science EDU. Before I say anything else, I'm going to play a montage of clips to give you a hint about today's topic.
Hey, you wanna come in? Make it say wow, 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 yeah. Call it pull it wow, 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 hey. Do it, pull it now, 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 hey. 3, 2, 1. Cooking like a chef, I'm a 5-star Michelin. 미의 정점을 찍고 눈에 보여 illusion. 모든 그냥 집어넣어. 눈치 보지 말고 더 망설이지 말고 와. 비벼. 머리 아프다. 나서 빠진 것처럼 미쳐 maniac 핑핑 돌아버리겠지 maniac Frankenstein처럼 걸어 maniac Why do I keep getting attracted 자석같이 끌려가 I cannot explain this reaction 이거밖에 1, 4, 3
For those of you stays out there, I know you would immediately recognize Felix's voice, even if I didn't include the video with those clips just now. Before I knew anything about Stray Kids, I had seen some of their performances on Kingdom, and I initially thought of Stray Kids as the group with the guy with the really low voice. For those of you who are not yet Stray Kids fans, you may have been really surprised by Felix's amazing bass voice. So our question for today is, what determines the pitch of our voices? So let's start by discussing how our voice is produced. Our voices are produced when we pass air through our vocal cords or vocal fold. Now, the first thing I learned is that our vocal cords look nothing like I expected them to. If you had asked me, I probably would have said that they must be like guitar strings strung across my trachea or windpipe, but that isn't even close. This is what vocal cords look like. The top portion of our trachea is our larynx or voice box. Inside our larynx is our vocal fold or vocal cords. If we looked down our throat at our vocal cords, this is what they look like. We each have these two muscle flap-like things in our larynx or voice box. When we are breathing normally without sound, they are open and relaxed. Then for us to make a sound, they come together and vibrate against each other to produce sound waves. Now, lucky for us, people have also made videos of their vocal cords while silent and while talking and while singing. Now, they don't seem to be too disturbed by doing this, and I love that we can check out the videos that they make. So this is what vocal cords in action look like. Isn't that so cool? Even as someone with a really strong understanding of biology and anatomy, I had no idea that that is what our vocal cords were doing. So now that we do understand what our vocal cords are doing, what determines the pitch of our voices? Here are some data from a review by Dr. Hollien. In this paper, he summarized how the size of a person's larynx and vocal fold is related to the pitch of their voice. As he reports here in Table 1, the larynx is bigger in males than in females, and males with a low voice have a larger larynx than males with a high voice. Likewise, females with a low voice have a larger larynx than females with a high voice. He similarly reported that those with lower voices have longer vocal cords, as shown here in Table 2, and similar to length, the data also support that people with lower voices have vocal folds with greater mass. As you can see here, the vocal folds in males with lower voices have greater mass than in males with higher voices. Likewise, females with lower voices have vocal folds with greater mass than females with higher voices. Now this relationship makes sense because the pitch of a sound is related to how fast a sound wave is moving. The slower a sound wave is moving, the lower it sounds, and the faster the sound wave is, the higher it sounds. So if we say the frequency or speed of this wave is 87.31 hertz, that would create the pitch F in the second octave that sounds like this. And which is in the range of where many of Felix's iconic parts are sung. And if we double the frequency to 174.62 hertz, the sound wave is faster and the pitch generates is an octave higher at F in the third octave, and that sounds like this. Longer and thicker vocal cords will produce lower sounds because they vibrate more slowly and produce slower sound waves. This is just like strings on a string instrument like this ukulele. Now I know you can't see the different thicknesses of these strings, but the C string is thicker than the A string. And when you can hear, when I pluck the thicker C string, it's lower than when I pluck the thinner A string. So people's voices are like that. So then given the size of our larynx and the size of our vocal cords, how do we change the pitch of our own voices? Well, it turns out that we make our pitches higher by stretching out our vocal cords. This makes them thinner, which allows them to vibrate faster and therefore make a higher pitch. So you can see that happen here with the ukulele as I turn the tuning key. So I'll start with my C key, my C string, and I'm going to turn it so that I make it tighter. So all I'm doing is stretching that tighter and tighter. And as you can hear, the sound went higher and higher. Now the cool thing is people have made videos of their vocal cords as they sing across different pitches. So we can watch what happens to the vocal cords as the pitch changes. Now in this video we're going to watch of this woman singing, you can clearly see that as she increases her pitch and gets higher, her vocal cords get stretched out and thinner. And then as she lowers her pitch, the vocal cords get shorter and thicker. So check this out. So now I couldn't go an entire lesson without mentioning BTS, but learning all of this reminded me of this clip from BTS FESTA 2020.
Okay,
야 이게 돼?
코코.
아 이거 많이 먹으면 머리 아파요. 넣어도 되냐? 그냥 마시면 되는 거야?
예.
오, 이거 약간 대구네야.
많이 되는데?
그니까요. 왜 그렇게 되는 거지?
아, 이게 바다선 아니에요. 아, 이게 바다선 아니에요.
So in the clip, we have Jungkook inhaling helium before he does his famous rendition of the Man on the Street's Rap Monster, which he obviously does much cooler than I do, but he inhales the helium and his voice is higher, and we have everyone laughing, and Hobie even says, why does that happen? Well, it turns out that I completely did not understand this either. I would have assumed that because the atoms of helium are lighter than the atoms and molecules in the air, our vocal cords would vibrate more quickly in helium and thereby produce a higher pitched sound. Now, I did find a few resources that said that that was what happens, but they are not actually right. It turns out our vocal cords do not vibrate significantly more quickly in helium than they do in regular air, but the sound waves that leave our vocal tract do move more quickly in helium. So the sound waves we hear are moving faster and sound higher. So do you think we could ask JYP to film Felix's and Seungmin's vocal cords as they sing so that we could compare the two? Now, after watching a whole lot of these videos, I don't think it is as uncomfortable as I would have expected, and I kind of think they would think it was really cool. So I think I'm going to add it to my science wish list. But for now, that's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions or suggestions. I will see you next time. Until then, keep listening and keep learning. 감사합니다.